Let's talk about the experience of leaving Kabul, leaving Afghanistan, and then we'll go back to what the past week has been like. We have some video we can show of getting on board the plane in Afghanistan, leaving the country. Can you describe for us what this journey was like?
Well, essentially, there's hundreds of you. It's the middle of the night. It's incredibly loud. You walk along the airfield. There's hot air being blown at you from all the different engines on the runway. And you are crammed onto this enormous C-17. Everybody has to stand and face forwards because you're like sardines packed in there. And then at a certain point, everybody sits down in unison so that there's room for everyone to sit. But you're not really able to, you can sort of just about sit cross-legged. And you're sort of looking around and people are just so scared, Brian. People are asking, where are we going? What happens next? I can't, my phone doesn't work. Who do I contact? How will I find the rest of my family? And because I'm a Westerner and with my crew, Brent Swales, William Bonnet. So everybody's asking us all these questions, like we might know the answers in terms of what comes next and how they'll get out and where they'll go and what will happen to the people that have been left behind. And then the engines start and you're off and everyone's sitting sort of huddled together, people holding on to each other, people collapse with exhaustion. And it's just this very, very strange sense of relief, but also sadness and guilt. Guilt, like, why do we get to leave? Why are we so lucky and fortunate? And tens of thousands of others are still pressing to try to get into that airport, to try to get out safely.
And you landed in Doha in Qatar, and I know there was a delay. You had to get a COVID test. I have to admit, I laughed a little bit when I heard that. You're coming out of this dangerous country, and now you have to get a COVID test. So what was that processing situation like in Doha?
So, first of all, I think it has to be said that what the Qataris are doing and what they have been trying to do is incredible. They are completely inundated and overwhelmed. They were originally asked to take several hundred. They got 600 in the first plane load, thousands since. They've been trying to process them. They've been trying to get them housing. They've been trying to feed them, to make sure they have medical attention, the medicines that they need. So many people with diabetes and heart issues are arriving without their proper medication. And so they've really been struggling. On top of that, they're launching their own evacuation efforts, a girls' school, boarding school they managed to evacuate. But because they are so inundated, there are cases where these C-17s will sit on the runway for 6 hours as the process unfolds of trying to put all these people through the system. And obviously, that's pretty much a nightmare because it's over 100 degrees, very high levels of humidity.
Yeah.
From there, we got off the plane. We had to do a COVID test, and as you said, it was that sort of reminder of like, oh wow, COVID. We had all sort of forgotten about COVID for a few weeks because when you're in this heartache and this chaos in Afghanistan, it just the normalcy of the rest of the world feels a million miles away. And from there, the Qataris were incredibly gracious. They really expedited those tests for us so that we were able to get on planes and go to our respective homes around the world. But for all of the Afghans who were on those planes with us, some of them have gone to the U.S., including our translator, Shafi, which honestly, I can't even tell you what a relief that was to be able to be sure that he got on that plane and is starting a new life. And it's petrifying for him. And he was on the edge of tears and we're trying to comfort him and tell him it's going to be okay. But thank God he got on the plane.